Now, the WTO deputy chief has urged African nations to consider joining the World Trade Organization or risk missing the opportunity to influence global trade rules. Zhang Xiangchen was speaking at the second China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo, which is happening in Changsha in central China. Now, the presidents of Rwanda, Senegal and Algeria also addressed the opening ceremony via video link. Here's Yu Li with an update.
The numbers are a testament to the success of China-Africa cooperation in the past 2 decades.
China-Africa economic and trade volume was only $10 billion in the year 2000. It broke through 100 billion in 2008 and $200 billion in 2013. In 2020, the number was 187 billion despite the pandemic.
Yang Jiechi, the Communist Party of China's top foreign affairs official, says China has been Africa's largest trading partner for 12 consecutive years and is Africa's second-largest export destination for agricultural products. China-Africa trade accounts for more than 21% of Africa's total trade volume. This year marks the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and Rwanda. The mechanism had secured many business deals. Rwanda hopes to open a wider market in China for its chili and coffee.
We have already seen the value of this event. At the first Expo in 2019, Rwandan companies secured rewarding trade deals, notably in the supply of specialty agricultural commodities to the Chinese market. This success has served to raise the ambition of our agribusiness sector even higher, and we appreciate the positive response by Chinese consumers to Rwanda's high-quality chili, tea, and coffee.
Over 20 forums, business matchmakings, and promotional events will be held over the next 2 days. There are 2 major exhibitions showcasing products from China and African countries here in Changsha International Conference Center, as well as Gaoqiao Market. Participants will also discuss cooperation opportunities in logistics, processing, research, and cross-border R&D business centers. Yuli, CGTN, Changsha, Hunan Province.
Well, let's now get into that event. We're joined by Tim Zajons. He's a lecturer at the University of Freiburg in Germany. He's talking to us about the prospects for this trade expo. Great to have you with us on the show, sir. Now, certainly this year's theme was New Start, New Opportunities and New Accomplishments. In keeping with this theme, and of course, given that this expo comes off the back of the COVID-19 pandemic, what new opportunities do you see that African countries can take advantage of going forward?
Good evening to Nairobi. Yes, indeed, this second China-Africa Trade Expo happens and takes place in fundamentally different economic circumstances compared to the first one in 2019. We are now 2 years into the pandemic, and of course, we have seen significant negative repercussions for the global economy, but also in particular for African economies. So there are huge hopes and expectations, particularly on the African side, when it comes to the questions to what extent trade with China can support African economies to recover. And we have heard that 3 African presidents have addressed the opening ceremony of the China-Africa Trade Exposition. This underlines the political weight that is, in the meantime, attributed to such trade facilitation efforts on the side of African governments, but also from the Chinese side. Of course, from this exposition, there are opportunities that will arise. The exchange between African and Chinese businesses. We have heard that up to 300 African businesses and individuals have decided to display and show their products and services at the exposition. So there will be projects unfolding from this exposition. At the same time, we need to be realistic about our expectation as to how much such event can change in terms of China-Africa trade relations. There are more fundamental and structural issues still at stake that are still pertaining to China-Africa economic relations. One of them, of course, is the remaining and in fact widening trade imbalance between China and some African economies. And these questions obviously require more political consultations. And in this sense, the China-Africa Expo that is currently taking place can be considered a prelude to the upcoming Forum for China-Africa Cooperation meeting that is still upcoming this year.
Now, as we talk about that imbalance, of course, China is one of the leading trading partners across Africa. And as we look at China's efforts in Africa, and of course, some of the policies that are at play, what are the key lessons African nations can use to improve trade amongst one another, looking at that relationship, particularly with the implementation of the AFCFTA, which is the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement?
Well, indeed, there are lessons to be learned. When we look at the Chinese experience, one key lesson is certainly the fact that the liberalization of an economy, as well as foreign direct investment, as China has done it in the 1980s and 1990s, needs to be strategically used to develop economies in the long run, to diversify economic bases. And I think here are key lessons to be learned in Africa. At the same time, what you have mentioned, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and other regional market integration schemes, we have also seen that whilst they are necessary in terms of reducing tariffs and non-tariff barriers, they also do not necessarily translate into an increase of intra-regional trade, so the trade that happens between and amongst African nations. These policies need to be accompanied with other policies that target industrialization, that target value addition in Africa. And I think here there's again a chance for cooperation and opportunities at the China-Africa level. I think African decision makers need to speak with a more clear voice and also a more unified voice when it comes to the needs and requirements in their economic relations with China, but also other external partners.
Well, we do have to leave it there. Many thanks for your insights, Mr. Xiangchen. That, of course, is Tim Xiangchen. He's a lecturer at the University of Freiburg in Germany.